I'm waiting for the preview on
The 30-second countdown.
no, I'm waiting for the preview on Instagram. We live now. Oh, there we go. Go live. So there's like a delay on Instagram. Yep. Like you just fixed your shirt and you just said something. So yeah, it's like a 20-second delay.
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna. I wanna. Oh. So what I'm going to do is I am going to switch profiles. Wow, that was a big yawn. I'm going to switch profiles so I can look at the Devon's World joint and probably see all the comments. Devon Jims has joined. All right. Also, let me see if I can do the Facebook joint real quick. It should say that I'm live. Um, turn the volume down.
Why would they do that?
Do what?
So
What happened? Oh, she's off. I'm live. What up? We're definitely having some technical difficulties. Um, I'm trying to find a live on Facebook right quick. Of course, I'm being distracted. Like, why would it be anything else? Um, because I can't find the live on Facebook. Sheesh. There we go. Live, indirect, live. All right, I'm bugging. I'm wilding. Let me share this with some people. Because they love me or whatever. That's the rumor going around and shit. One thing that I hate when you can't you can't share your shit with certain people no more. Nah, fuck it. And I didn't know I could send it to many different people. Is she back yet? She's not back yet. So I'm not gonna add her to the stage till she come all the way back. I don't know what's going on in these streets, in these YouTube streets. Um, I ain't gonna hold you. I'm fake tired. I ain't gonna hold you. Um, all right, so we're gonna do that, and then I gotta send it to some more groups. Uh-oh, let me mute the mic. I'm on mute. You back?
Yeah, I guess I'm back. Yep.
All right. So I'm gonna blow my nose right quick.
I
Um,
tried to share the stream onto my services and I got kicked off. So
um, I gotta maybe that's something that we're on mute. Maybe that's something that we could do when we before I like we do the whole thing with the key, not the key, the code, the link.
mm,
Maybe you could share it first, and then we do it that way.
we should try it that way. Yeah.
All right. So midweek check-in. How you feeling? How you doing? How you been?
It's been very busy. It's been a very, very busy week.
It definitely has been. It definitely has been. Today was the first time I stayed home for longer than like 6 hours in a day, and definitely was at home working the entire damn time. The entire time. So,
That's on brand.
yep,
But also, if you ain't been home for 6 hours, there'll be stuff to do around the house. So
that's exactly some of the reason why I stayed home today. I caught a lucky break or something, and I was like, you know what? Let me just stay home and get some work done. What up, Ash? And that was pretty much it. Um, oh, you got your nails did,
my nails is always dead.
but you look fresh.
Had a busy weekend.
You
They
look nice.
cute. They
You
cute.
get them yourself?
Mhm.
I don't know.
And
So,
money.
in lieu of a lot of the political events we've been witnessing lately, we have had a president drop out of a race, a former president almost get shot. Um, vice
There's a
the one of the most unpopular vice presidents ever is now being cast to run for president, but it doesn't mean she's actually going to get the nomination. So we'll see how that works out
yeah.
when we get to the DNC, the Democratic National Convention. Um, but it made me start thinking, right? So I'm very apolitical. I mean, I don't know if apolitical is the right word. I don't have a horse in the race, right? So a lot of conversations that I have with people is like, I don't say I don't care who wins. I do. I'm tired of trading one evil for another.
Mhm.
Right?
Facts.
So when people, I feel like people hate on Biden or Kamala or Harris to big up Trump, and people put down Trump to big up the other people, and I'm just like, it ain't no wins with either one. Like no matter what's happening, we taking the L. Like it just is what it is, and I feel like it's like, do you get smothered or do you get shot in the head? Which death do you prefer at this point? You know what I mean? And so I've had some private conversations. In those conversations, people are trying to, either they try to understand my political leanings, and I'm just telling them like, voting for president doesn't solve anything. I've never had a president in my lifetime that's done anything that that directly affected me, except for the little bit of checks that we got for earning
During the
credit.
stimulus.
Right, the stimulus checks that we got, but I also got a stimulus check under Bush. Well, it wasn't like a separate check, but they added like an extra $700 on my tax return, like that.
Oh, okay.
But outside of that, like I've never had anything directly affect me. It's always like a trickle down effect. There's always some other thing.
Trickle
So,
down is BS.
well, I mean trickle down and like something happened in the bureaucracy, and then it eventually catches up to the average citizen. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
I got you.
So I've never had anything that was like, oh, we're gonna do this for black folks. It's gonna affect you. Oh, student loan is is done or healthcare is free. Like I've never had a president, so I'm not really interested in the presidency. I think that a lot of what we have in terms of like the presidency is a lot of figurehead stuff. Like they do things, but in terms of actually making real change in society, it's not a lot of it. It's just not a lot of it. So anyway, I started to know that there was a lot of debate because of that, and there was a lot of people who was on the fence about Biden, but going hard for Kamala, like she's not a Zionist as well. Hold on. And you know, I seen people like go really hard like on Trump, like he's gonna bring in Nazism, like it won't be a civil war or something like that happen. Like I'm not saying that he is or isn't. I'm just saying like, do you want the loud cool or the quiet cool? Because either one is a cool. And I try not to have certain conversations with certain people that may be sensitive to it because I know it may strain our friendship. So that got me to thinking a lot about how relationships handle things like that. Like I wasn't really aware because I'm saying to myself, damn, if I have to have these type of thoughts about about my friendships or whatever, then imagine you dealing with somebody that's like your mate. And I had gave you some things to read and look at or whatever. And one of them that I read, and I'm not gonna lie, like I read them I definitely skimmed through them joints. But what I noticed was that some of them had was like on one of them I said like, what if your partner's political ideology changes? You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
what if something happens where their political ideology, like let's say you guys voted Democrat all together all the way up until 2016. He was like, I'm a rock with Trump. And you might be one of the people that think Trump is a racist. Personally, I think Trump is an elitist, which could seem like racism, but it's neither here nor there. So at the end of the day, I wondered like if somebody could really be with someone if their political ideology is like really, really different. Like, could somebody be like, I don't want to use the word woke because they stole that from us. But somebody has the ideology like real pro trans, pro LTBG community, like real like that more modern left. Uh, you know, the kids have rights left, and then somebody who's hardcore right, like no abortion, gun rights, OD. Like could those ideologies combine? Because the way I thought about it was, if you have vastly different ideology, that means your values may be different, and different values, I don't think work well in a relationship. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it's fundamental stuff. And I've seen stuff like that even play out in my own family because it doesn't just strain love relationships. It could strain a lot of relationships. Like even if you look at the generational gap between like you and our parents, it could put a strain between parents and children and
Mm-hmm.
friends. And we kind of went through. I personally experienced something like that, kind of like during Black Lives Matter thing, and ended up having to like mute my cousin because everyone started arguing and fighting so bad with him.
Mm.
So on social media, he's muted. So it's kind of like an unspoken rule, like you don't talk politics with him no
Damn, the unspoken rule, huh?
more. Don't get into it. So um, I can only imagine if that was my lover or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's so easy to get sucked into the arguments. Like I said, I can mute my cousin. You know what I mean? I can't mute someone I live with.
And go to sleep with and all that other stuff.
Hmm.
I feel like I don't think I've ever been on a date I don't think I've ever dated someone and asked them what their political ideology was. And I thought about that, and it made me think to myself, how important is politics in my life? If that's something like that doesn't come up, I want to know how many brothers and sisters you have. I want to know if you were raised with your mom and your dad. That's important to me. Who you voting for, it kind of don't matter, but I don't know if it doesn't matter to me, because in my head I'm saying to myself, if we're going to align with our values, we're probably going to be close politically, or politically, none of that matters to me at all.
Mm-hmm.
So why even bring it up? Like I don't know how to go about that. Like, and I
So
don't know how that feels in my head.
I feel like it's one of those things that's not. It's supposed to be private. How someone votes is supposed to be private. That's my understanding of it. Um,
Even with your wife or your husband.
they can tell you whatever they want, but when they go in that booth, it's private. It's like bodies. You only know the bodies that their body count if they tell you. You know, what I mean, you weren't there. There's no way for you to verify stuff like that. You can't verify who they vote for.
Right.
So, you know what I mean? And um, so to some degree, it doesn't make sense to argue about it. Um, and I definitely think that there are a lot of people way more politically inclined than I. Um, I've had people bring that up in the first date. I've had people talk about it before the first date. I follow this lady who gives like advice on the dating apps, and the dating apps have put it as options for you to say you're political leaning. And because it's an option, you can also filter out people with opposing political leanings. So I think if it's up there with smoking, you know what I mean? I think it's pretty big as far as like looking for a mate. And I know you say it doesn't affect your day to day that much.
I said the presidency doesn't.
Ah, okay. Yes, okay. Because I do think how you vote, especially since our political system is a two-party system, it's not like we have a whole bunch of options. I feel like these extremes can only exist because that exists. And if you had more options, then it might be a little more open. It's not as extreme a divide, you know what I mean? And I feel like the divide has grown recently, obviously. It's been more polarized. I think that's also a product of social media and algorithms and manipulation. And I personally, I don't think I've really dated someone who had seriously opposing views than me politically. I feel like I've gotten into huge arguments with people over less value wise.
I understand. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
I was trying to share it online and it froze me out. And when I reset the screen, it deleted all of the comments that I wanted to talk about from fucking
Instagram?
yeah, man. We gotta find a better way than this. Oh man. So
Tell Instagram to resend their comments.
well, Ruben has said something. Ruben has said something like he said that he said ironically he you know that he knew people that aligned with him ideologically, but they didn't align with one another politically. And he was like, but he said he didn't mind that until politically they started to kind of adhere to the indoctrination, and then that's when he was like, "Ah, this is too much." And then somebody,
Oh.
the Brooklynpreneur, she said, you know what? I just knocked my glasses off my fist. So, the Brooklynpreneur said that she thought somebody was the one until she said that he voted for Trump, and the rumor said Trump support was he pro-black, and she said, "Yeah, but you wouldn't think it." And I think that's interesting to me because I feel like um, it's just interesting to me. Damn, it's not going to show. And I feel the interest that I have from that is like the whole conversation of can somebody date somebody white and still be like, can a black person date a white or marry a white person and still be pro-black? I think they can be. Um, I have some. I have questions about certain things,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like we are too. What's the word am I looking for? We are too propagandized to know the truth about anything. I think
Indeed.
we are too propagandized to know the truth about anything. So a lot of what happens is that we're going off of this emotion. I seen a post today. Um, Zoe said Dr. Umar gonna get me. Don't date the snow bunnies. Anyway,
Don't touch the snow.
the
Leave
snow
those snow
bunnies.
bunnies alone. No, I'm just
Yo, that's hilarious. So no, but oh man, one of the things I was thinking about though was like, especially like if you're in a relationship with someone, right? So there was this really good debate that I watched a few months ago when this woman was kind of like supporting Biden and like, well, listen, he got these trickle issues, and these issues are aligned to what it is that I want to do. And I was like, okay, I understand what she's saying, but that was a white woman, and a black woman was saying, I get all that, but that doesn't really align with what we need as a black person. Like you know what I mean? And I'm like,
mm-hmm.
can you like, what if you're dating someone and that person that you're dating, or you're married to someone, that person that you're married to is voting for somebody with a cause that you can understand, right? So the white woman was saying like, yo, he did a lot of good things with labor. Speaking of Biden, he did a lot of good things with labor. He did a lot of good things when it came to like antitrust and things like that. And it's like, oh, that's cool, but he didn't he didn't take, if you're going to sue a cop and you win, he gets his pension taken and given to the family that he killed or whatever. Oh, that didn't, he could have signed that with an executive order. He could have signed the Stop Black Hate like he did with the Asian hate bill in executive order. He didn't do those things. So she's like, I hear what you're saying, but there was nothing done that affected me directly. That's something that might affect me in some degree peripherally, but it wasn't a direct effect. But now Biden absolutely said himself that he was a Zionist. And if you're a Zionist, what does that mean? You mean you support the colonization of the Palestine region, right? So it's like,
And the genocide.
can you support somebody for those changes, those things that I can agree, I can understand why somebody there was some banking reform that he did that wasn't bad. But the bank now they charging you for your account. Like they stopped, so you can't do minimums, but now you got to pay $15 a month for your account, no matter what, right? So, but beside the point, Biden, like no presidency is all bad, but can that person making that, hey, listen, I agree with some of these things that he's doing, so I'll vote for him. Is that worth the genocide support, the get into Ukraine support? You follow what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Is that worth that? Can you say to somebody, yo, I understand why you voted for them, but I can't get over the fact that he's allowing these people to die. 30,000 plus people died directly from bombs and guns, and then like another 70,000 people has died or are dying currently because of starvation, lack of water, and disease. So it's like, is that okay for you to accept that your mate is okay with accepting that?
I don't see how we could just be like, yeah, so we're just not going to talk about Palestine over dinner and if we've been drinking and right before bed, so I could remain sexually attracted to you. Because what? What about any of that makes me excited to be here?
Oh, Ruben said, I think it becomes issues when the politics materially affects your life, like when the laws around marriage and childbearing go to the Supreme Court, Roe versus Wade. Um, just as an FYI,
Yeah, let
versus
them ban abortion and nationwide. We'll see if y'all
right.
some real writers.
So Roe versus Wade was not repealed. The federal enforcement of it was repealed, so it's up to the states now. That's basically what they said. But we know how
Yes,
to.
that's why I said what I said, which
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
let it
But
happen on a federal level, and we'll see. Because
right. So the funny thing about that though is I listened to this guy today, and he said, um, once states start repealing federal law, like they start saying we're not following that. He said secession is not that far behind, and bullshit is the brewing. And I felt like Roe versus Wade and some other things are really like our litmus test. Because in
mm,
my opinion, I feel like what they're doing is they're trying to repeal some things,
mhm.
right? And in the repealing of those things, the states kind of get what they want to do until the states get emboldened and say, well, we're not going to do that. Now, I'm not going to hold you. They're not malicious like they were 200 years ago.
Mhm.
Damn, was Civil War was even 200 years ago yet? That's crazy. So, right. I tell people my grandmother knew slaves. I knew a person who knew slaves. So take that for what you want. But anyway, so I think about you know the larger context, like what Ruben said. Ruben said, can you like all right, like let's say um Arkansas or Mississippi has been trying to ban um they've been trying to ban abortion for umpteen years or whatever. But now
Yeah.
the states, they have that right to do so. Like, would you be happy that your mate voted for someone, and let's say you live in that state, and then he voted for the governor that's like, nah, we're not doing abortion, but yo, no more taxes. And you're like, yo, you can't vote for that guy. But he said no more taxes. But babe, he's fucking up abortion rights. Like women, our daughters, like what if something happens, somebody gets raped? Like, is that a thing that you can stomach and tolerate? Because now it affects you directly. And although he said no taxes, and you can understand no taxes, but
Yeah.
now you're not back to coat hangers. Like, how does that add up? How can you
And
justify?
I don't think that's another thing. Like different rights weigh differently on different partners. So he might be like, yeah, taxes because he's the breadwinner, but
Right, right,
I need rights to keep people from telling me what to do with my body. And people aren't looking to tell men what to do for the that's not even an issue for y'all. So like we can talk about coat hangers, but I'm the only one who's going to experience a coat hanger. You know what I
right,
mean? Like, so
right.
do I trust you enough to give you agency? I like, that's a deep conversation.
Yeah,
I'm the only one who could potentially die in this situation. You know
right.
what I mean?
That's crazy. And I feel like that's when politics in the household becomes heavy. I feel
Yeah.
like I feel like now it's political theater at this point. Like it just is what it is. But the theater, I think, is becoming more and more real. Um, the past few, since COVID. I say since COVID, it's become way more real, way more real.
We're still trying to like clear the air over some of the stuff that happened during
During
COVID.
COVID, yes. I don't
A
think that,
lot of people still believe a lot of lies.
bruh. Listen, don't get me started on that. So how about this? How about this? So one of my most proud moments of regarding COVID was also one of my most embarrassing moments regarding COVID, right?
Mhm.
Because I have this need, as all of my friends know, to be right. Got to be right, and that f's me up sometimes because that need to be right, it 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 could jam me up at some point. You feel me? So
Mhm.
what happened was, in one of those tirades of me being right, and Ruben said a good point, by the way. Um, I was talking about COVID, and I'm not gonna lie to anyone. Everything that I talked about regarding COVID, I was 100% correct. But on this night in 2021, I was telling people about the vaccine and and like I actually looked at the science behind it, and people, oh, I think the argument that I use is, oh, you're not a scientist. I'm like, I'm not a mechanic either, but I know something's not going right with my car. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah.
And I embarrassed myself because I went too hard to be correct. Of course, I was 100% correct, but that was a conversation that maybe I shouldn't have dived in or taken so personally. There are some people in our society, and the reason why I was so, I was so vehement about the defense of my position is because I knew that there were certain things that could actually hurt people. And I'm like, yo, I've had conversations with women and men that were of healthy age that were having real bad side effects. And they're not talking about this publicly, and this should be a thing. And I seen some things that I'm concerned about, especially when it comes to my loved ones, right? The reason why I was so ashamed is because I didn't have to show people up to prove that I was right. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
And I felt like I took it personally because I felt like people could be in danger. With that being said, there are literally people who feel like,
People were in danger. Our livelihoods were in danger.
well, yeah, but that's what
Uh,
I was getting to. I was going to say that there are people who feel like that about Trump. There are people who actually feel like Trump started that coup. They feel like it wasn't even a coup. That pisses me off. It wasn't
you
a
talking
coup.
about January 6th?
Yeah, it was white people going crazy. It wasn't a coup. People don't even know what a coup is. A coup is when the military going to Congress like, this is our shit now. That's a coup. That wasn't a fucking coup. Not some white rednecks who was doctors and lawyers. Like, no, wasn't a coup. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is they really believe that Trump, and I'm not saying this is true or not true, but they really believe that Trump is like an existential threat to democracy, which America is not a democracy, it's a republic, neither here nor there. And that passion can actually lead someone to be like, yo, I can't fuck with you. Or they might be, so imagine, so now the shoes on the other foot. Now it's not how about you. You like, yo, I'm gonna do what I want to do. I'm gonna vote how I'm gonna vote. Yada yada, blah blah blah. And you are like, all right, but I'm gonna vote for Biden. And he's like, what? Biden, what he did with the student loans, what Biden did with the criminal justice system, how Biden's been accused of like pedophilia and stuff like that. His own daughter said wild, crazy shit in her journal and blah 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 blah. And he just
That's
goes
great how these could be interchanged for both candidates,
on
though.
either
But
candidate,
anyway,
exactly, almost word for word.
yeah.
So, because I definitely read that report that Shorty was talking about Trump on Epstein Island was crazy. So, but what do you do if it's the shoes on the other foot, where it's like that person is so emotional about your decision? And let's say it was Trump. You say I'm gonna vote for Trump, and he was just like, "Yo, how dare you?" Like, he did that on Epstein Island, and he appointed one of the judge to help overthrow Roe versus Wade. Like, how do you handle your partner's emotion, politically?
I feel like once I understood that one of my partners was a devil's advocate, I had to become aware of how I communicated with him when he did things like that. Because if you're blindsided, that's when I'm emotional. Especially when I'm either really passionate about something, which some of these issues I am, or when I'm caught off guard. And what would happen was an innocent conversation would catch me off guard, and then we end up in this terrible argument over stuff that didn't have real weight in our day to day relationship.
Mm.
And when I realized he would argue, he was a contrarian. I had to learn to hold my tongue. Um, I liked to ask questions and make the conversation about why he thought that way or why he feels that way versus trying to change his mind, because I understood that wasn't going to happen because he's a contrarian. And try not take the answers personally. It was tough, and it wasn't something that came easily or without practice. It did not come easily without practice. I still think those conversations were wild, but I would just refuse to engage with them.
I don't know. I don't know what I would do, honestly speaking. I don't know if I would or how I would react. I feel like I get emotionally easily about some of these topics. Because and I don't know if Ruben's still watching. I don't know if I can even see if Ruben's still watching, but yeah, he is. The thing is, he like a lot of times he'll send me something, and I'm like, bro, I was saying that 7 years ago, right? And he'll be like, yep, because a lot of the stuff that I know and I see what's coming. And how many times have I said, we got 10 years, maybe 7. Like 7 years, we need to start planning on how to get up out of here. It's not going to be pretty. It's not going to happen overnight, but it's like 15 years, we probably won't recognize this country, and not for the better. And maybe 25, 30 years, we might recognize this country for the better, but it depends on what happened after 15 years from now. Before 15 years from now. So, long story short, I see some of the writing on the wall. I see how some of the things are being squeezed in. I see, both parties are birds of the same feather. You know what I mean? And I feel like if somebody was really emotional about something, what I typically try to do is like, let's talk about facts. And if you can't focus on facts and not your opinion of those facts, then we can't have a conversation. Because we could bring up the facts and then have opinions on those facts. But if you're just talking about your opinion of facts and your opinion of your opinion on the facts, then that's how it starts to get irrational and emotional. I think the proper conversation is like, okay, what did this president do? What did this president not do? And what's your opinion on that? Don't just start making shit up. Because a lot of people will make shit up, and then I'll have to tell them real quick, that didn't happen. That was a lie. You know what I mean?
So when you talk about what president did and what they didn't do, I want to bring up the fact that a lot of times the changes a president makes don't really go into full effect until the next term.
That's what
some changes take a long time to be implemented, enforced, and before there's something we live. So I remember a conversation about how they were like, Trump was saying that like during Obama's administration, we experienced certain low statistics and stuff. But some of his stuff was still kicking in when Trump took office, and Trump tried to take credit for stuff that had been implemented before he was elected. You know what I mean? Even politics isn't as black and white. When you talk about not just changing laws, but the effects of those laws, it takes time to see.
Yeah. And I know that for a fact because of what I do. When you do taxes and stuff like that, I have to pay attention to politics because I need to know what the laws are going to be. Because then I have to learn those laws and apply them to people's tax returns. And I'm not going to hold you. I see it firsthand. Like I see all the bullshit that happened under Bush. I seen all the stuff that happened under Trump, Obama, and Biden. I've seen it firsthand. And when people come to me like, how come my taxes is who you voted for, man? Real talk. Look who you voted for. Like I was telling people under Trump, listen, man, Your tax return is gonna be crazy for 2 years, 3 years. That fourth year is gonna be crazy. And when Biden got into office, the fourth year was even more crazy, and they made it even more crazy 4-6 years after Trump made those changes. It was going to happen anyway, but they made it worse.
Do you think that sometimes outgoing presidents try to
over people?
sabotage
Yes.
the next presidency?
Yes. I've seen that more so with like healthcare though.
Okay.
I've seen it a lot with healthcare. Like also the reason why I'm not a fan of the Democrats is because the Republicans do the bad things, but the Republicans do the bad things that the Democrats let them do. That's why Obama didn't appoint a justice. He could have. But he said, "Oh, let's follow the rules," and then Trump appointed 2 people, and it was like, "Wait a minute, why are you mad at Trump?"
And that move right there of Trump appointing 2 justices is a huge part of Project
25.
Yeah, it is. It's a huge part.
Like you have to look up the Heritage Foundation. People got to look into that. That shit is nuts.
And yeah, it is.
How a government like this is really the way our government is shaped. Is too malleable to people of influence. But that's neither here nor there. That wasn't even my point. So my point is,
you've seen these changes kick in.
So with Obama could have he could have codified and improved Obamacare, which is the American Affordable Health Care Act. He could have codified that before he left office, and he chose not to, knowing that Trump was running on the no more Obamacare, which was stupid for the people who voted for him, because a lot of people who voted for him needed Obamacare. Was like, oh, wait a minute, what happened to my health insurance? Well, nigga, you voted for the guy who cut all the funding to the states for Medicaid, that the states were like, out of spite. It cost them nothing. I worked in this system. It cost the state nothing to do it. Do you know what? It was all on the healthcare companies. The states got the money, and the healthcare companies had to basically qualify for it through their system. So and you had to have, like, your people had to have a certain amount of preventative care, yada yada yada, blah blah blah, and then you get the money from the state that the state got from the Fed. And out of spite, they were like, we don't want to do that, bro. It costs you nothing. Y'all were the states that weren't given. So like New York State, we would give the federal money plus the state's Medicaid budget will also go into that. So it was like you saw the savings. On the flip side, states like Mississippi and Arkansas, there's some other states that were there too. I know those 2 specifically. They weren't given any of it. They did not increase their Medicaid budget. It was like, yo, you're saving money, so you should be increasing your budget. So now they didn't do none of that. Matter of fact, I feel like they reduced their budget. Oh, y'all getting the money from the government anyway.
Reduce the budget, cut all types of
Obamacare
health and services.
Hold on, when Obamacare went away, they never increased the budget again. So the people who were fucked up on Medicaid were even more effed up. It was like, thank God for COVID, but then COVID, all those emergency things are over. So as of like 2022, so 23 and 24, people have been like jammed up. People have been jammed up because of it. And so I've seen it really happen in healthcare, just in taxes. And I didn't, when I started, I got licensed in like 09 to 2010, something like that. And then I've been doing taxes in like 07. I never knew the impact on those 2 industries like directly. And it's like, it's a thing that happens. And it usually, I would find out about something like in the summertime, and I'll know by November when it's going to be enacted. It might not be this year, it might be next year. Like the whole, and I don't know if you guys know this, right? So people that was talking about like, oh, we got to do Nancy Pelosi and all this other stuff. Man, people don't even know that she was a big reason why that bill passed, where they said, oh, you know how it used to be $10,000 we can look at, or it has to be reported to the government? Now it's $600 motherfucking dollars.
Okay. Yeah, boy.
Anything over $600, they got the right to look at your bank account. They had to see the transaction. And I'm like, what? That's like 90% of how much people get paid like per week or something like that. I don't maybe in New York. I don't know. I see that the majority of people in America get paid over $600 a month. So if
Yeah.
you get a check, you get it one time. That's $600. You get the chance to look at your account. And I personally don't. Damn, I feel like I'm being a hypocrite by saying this. As I'm saying this, I'm feeling like that's bullshit. I don't know if I care as much as who a person supports because I believe that people are propagandized, and I'm one of the few people on earth. The only thing is like 10 or 15% of us that cannot be propagandized. It's like, oh, word, that's what he said. Let me look into it real quick. Oh, nah, this is what he meant. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I understand that I give respect to people who are propagandized because I have an empathy for you. Like, you know, I was there up until I was 23 years old. And since the last 17 years of my life, I cannot be propagandized. So there are a lot of people stuck in the matrix. However, I do find offense into what you support about each person. So like I've been seeing videos going around like, oh, you were misinformed about Kamala Harris. She never locked up all those people. Like, no, yes, she did.
Oh,
Not
I
only did
saw
she lock
that.
up a lot of people, not only did she lock up a lot of people she locked up did over their term. And she went to fight for them to stay in prison so that they could have cheap jail labor, equivalent to slavery. This is public information. You can find this. I've just seen a video today that said that she said out her own mouth. Yeah, I understand that we should be building more schools and jails, but I think that's fundamentally wrong. These are things that she said.
Schools and what? Not schools and jails.
Yeah, we shouldn't build as many schools as we do jails because people have to go to jail for their crimes. So I think that ideology is fundamentally wrong. I'm paraphrasing, but that's essentially what she said. Again, this is something that she said online. Now, if you're defending a woman that said that, you can't ever, because of what you watch, what gets filtered into your feed, you can never actually see those things. They never pop up. I can understand. But now, let's say I bring that to your attention. No, this is what happened. Look at these court cases. No, this is what she said out her own mouth. And then you still defend that? Like you don't have the open mind? I can't tolerate that. I'm not gonna hold you. I can't tolerate that. I cannot. Now you turn me off all the way. Now I'm like, you know what? I don't care. There's nothing that's gonna make me feel like I want to continue this conversation with you at all. Before you respond though, there is a video. It's like a 5-minute video. About politics making us irrational that I want to watch before we get off. But I just
Okay.
want so you could now go ahead, I guess. Oh wait, before you go, Ruben said also the construct of politics is the totality of their personhood. You got to know. You don't want to find that out because they only showed up to the other side. Yep.
Oh.
Ruben definitely confirm, yeah, because we've been talking about some of these things years and years ago. And then Ruben said she was a prosecutor, so I'm not surprised. I always thought that being a black prosecutor in America is a professional position that forces you to sit in cognitive dissonance. Wow. Yeah, I agree.
Oh wow.
I agree. Because I felt like that's one of those positions where the more pro
wasn't made for black people.
It wasn't. It was actually made to further, hold down black people. And it's like you have to have a certain level of cognitive dissonance, or you have to have a certain type of malleable personality that allows you to be propagandized in order to do things to your people. You know what I'm
saying?
Yeah. Which is why the cops and the CIA and FBI they don't recruit people who are of independent mind and free will and thought. They get people who their personalities to which they can mold. Like that's like something that they look for. Like they won't hire me because I stand on my own too. And like that's bullshit. I'm not doing that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not good for business.
Yeah, that part.
Not good for business.
Not a good business tactic, dog.
No, it's not.
Not a good business.
Not going to get your return.
No.
That you expected off of that.
600. That's at a point that Republicans will fight against that. Yeah, man. What up, Mel? What up, Mel? Y'all want to play that video? Is that okay?
Yep,
Let's
play the
all
video.
right. Let me
Play
do.
that bean footage.
Beam the footage, y'all. All right, I gotta lock and load it.
Oh, you
Hopefully,
didn't get the reference.
nah, I didn't. My bad.
Play that beautiful bean footage. You don't remember that commercial
Nah, what's
with the
that?
dog and the canned beans? I can't.
Hold on. All right. So I'm playing this video. Let me turn on the volume a little bit. Let me warn you the most Solomon manner against the baneful effects of the spirit of party. So, oh yeah, they can still see us. We lit. Is it playing?
No?
Wildin'.
In 2013, a team of
You gonna
researchers
watch this
held
together?
a math test. The exam was administered to
Share
over
this video,
100
y'all.
American adults and test their ability to evaluate sets of data. Hidden among these math problems were two almost identical questions. Both problems used the same difficult data set, and each had one objectively correct answer. The first asked about the correlation between rashes and a new skin cream. The second asked about the correlation between crime rates and gun control legislation. Participants with strong math skills were much more likely to get the first question correct. But despite being mathematically identical, the results for the second question looked totally different. Here, math skills weren't the best predictor of which participants answered correctly. Instead, another variable the researchers had been tracking came into play: political identity. Participants whose political beliefs aligned with a correct interpretation of the data were far more likely to answer the problem right. Even the study's top mathematicians were 45% more likely to get the second question wrong when the correct answer challenged their political beliefs. What is it about politics that inspires this kind of illogical error? Can someone's political identity actually affect their ability to process information? The answer lies in a cognitive phenomenon that has become increasingly visible in public life: partisanship. While it's often invoked in the context of politics, partisanship is more broadly defined as a strong preference or bias towards any particular group or idea. Our political, ethnic, religious, and national identities are all different forms of partisanship. Of course, identifying with social groups is an essential and healthy part of human life. Our sense of self is defined not only by who we are as individuals, but also by the groups we belong to. As a result, we're strongly motivated to defend our group identities, protecting both our sense of self and our social communities. But this becomes a problem when the group's beliefs are at odds with reality. Imagine watching your favorite sports team commit a serious foul. You know that's against the rules, but your fellow fans think it's totally acceptable. The tension between these two incompatible thoughts is called cognitive dissonance, and most people are driven to resolve this uncomfortable state of limbo. You might start to blame the referee, complain that the other team started it, or even convince yourself there was no foul in the first place. In a case like this, people are often more motivated to maintain a positive relationship with their group than perceive the world accurately. This behavior is especially dangerous in politics. On an individual scale, allegiance to a party allows people to create a political identity and support policies they agree with. But partisan based cognitive dissonance can lead people to reject evidence that's inconsistent with the party line or discredits party leaders. And when entire groups of people revise the facts in service of partisan beliefs, it can lead to policies that aren't grounded in truth or reason. This problem isn't new. Political identities have been around for centuries, but studies show that partisan polarization has increased dramatically in the last few decades. One theory explaining this increase is the trend towards clustering geographically in like-minded communities. Another is the growing tendency to rely on partisan news or social media bubbles. These often act like echo chambers, delivering news and ideas from people with similar views. Fortunately, cognitive scientists have uncovered some strategies for resisting this distortion filter. One is to remember that you're probably more biased than you think. So when you encounter new information, make a deliberate effort to push through your initial intuition and evaluate it analytically. In your own groups, try to make fact checking and questioning assumptions a valued part of the culture. Warning people that they might have been presented with misinformation can also help. And when you're trying to persuade someone else, affirming their values and framing the issue in their language can help make people more receptive. We still have a long way to go before solving the problem of partisanship, but hopefully these tools can help keep us better informed and capable of making evidence-based decisions about our shared reality. An important tool in fighting echo chambers is learning how to analyze and dissect what you see on the internet and on social media. How good are you at separating fact from fiction? Test your skills with these videos.
What you think about that?
Very interesting. Um, but I can see it as we are social animals, and for a lot of us, our social, I won't say climate, but like we have a tendency to group, and that can affect your survival whether or not you're accepted in your groups. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? On just a very basic animal level.
It's in our genes to be accepted by a group, by the way.
Exactly. So I can see where it comes from. I can understand it. The fact that it's being exploited, it's kind of
Hmm.
being exploited,
Hmm.
um, is is rough. But I mean, what was that documentary about social media and how it's like,
What? That documentary is crazy.
it
Yeah.
tells you like how they keep reeling
Everything.
you in and how like when you Google search, it's going to show you the answers you want to see and
So you know that when I actually just watched a lecture today, and the guy was like, when you are considered to be like of high social status, what happens is that you yeah, Social Dilemma. That's the name of the documentary. If you haven't watched Social
social
Dilemma, you
dilemma.
gotta watch it. So if you are considered to be like a higher status of like social in social communities, you actually have benefits in your brain. So
Hmm.
you have less anxiety, you have more serotonin that's released. You don't deal with a certain level of stress. However, if you see somebody else as that person, you have more stress, right? And he was like, I actually think Jordan Peterson was saying this, and he was saying like, ultimately that goes back to even like our invertebrate, like they go through the same kind of thing. He was like, but if you give a lobster like antidepressants, so he said, if two lobsters fight and one loses, naturally you don't want to fight anymore because you like, I took the L, it's over. He said, but if you give the lobster antidepressants, they'll start fighting immediately, right back. Like I can win this fight, and I feel like the tribalism is is ingrained in us because if you need your tribe to survive, right,
Mhm.
then you can't really go against the tribe because you might not be able to eat or stay warm during the winter.
Yeah.
So it's plugged in our brain to be like, nah, let me not rock the boat a little because I might get kicked out. And I've been trying, and one of the arguments that I have with a lot of people is like, you have to go back to Freud's nephew, who revolutionized marketing. And he's the one that got it. Watch a commercial on mute, everybody. The next time you watch a commercial, do it on mute. And when you watch that commercial on mute, what's going to happen is you're going to see that there's a clip every half second to every second and a half. And that's because when things happen fast, your brain tells your eyes, well, your eyes is actually the only part of your brain that you can see, but it tells your eyes to, you have to pick up these messages so we can figure out what's going on. Look at music videos, especially in the early 2000s and stuff. Music videos were 1, 2, 3, boom, 1, 2, 3, boom, 1, 2, 3, boom, one, and it gives you like a brain sensory overload. But what they did is that they noticed, oh, humans have these things that are just innate in what makes a human, the animalistic nature. The more we can tilt people, make them afraid, fight or flight, anxiety, bad health, blah, blah, blah. So there's a whole, I would say 90% of our economy is built on how to trigger some type of reaction from us. And if you're in a relationship, if the relationship is a family member or somebody that you're with, whatever, romantically, if you're not getting along with somebody because of politics, it's because you're allowing yourself to be dictated to by the outside influences. Remember that conversation we had about like who brings what to the table? And I was just like, at the end of the day, we're all being fucked because of the Federal Reserve and fracturing reserve lending and just the government being. So at the end of the day, this whole conversation about what men can and cannot bring to the table is brought to you by the Federal Reserve. It's not even my fault that the dollar is as weak as it is, and I got to work 2 jobs to make $100,000 in New York just to be okay. Not even to be good, just to be all right.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, but you blame me for not being able to do enough. Where if I was able to make the same salary, not even long ago, 10 years ago, it's night and day difference.
Huge difference. Absolutely.
A lot of the things that we see in our culture that is creating the divide is caused from external forces that know how to dictate our primal sense. And if you go back to Freud's nephew, I can't remember his name, but he's the one who started the marketing and how to actually tap into somebody's psychology. You think that what hasn't been happening when it comes to like the propaganda that is used in America?
Isn't he the one who worked for there was like certain things that he was in charge of, and one was like defining breakfast, because breakfast foods didn't used to be like eggs and bacon, but they needed people to support the farming industry.
Yes.
And then it went to, he also did that for cigarettes, like making it okay for women to smoke.
I don't know if he was directly involved with that, but I think it wasn't that he made it okay.
Because it used to be taboo.
Right.
For women to smoke.
If a woman can smoke, then like you're more free, you're more liberal, you're more of your own woman because yeah. I don't know if it was him who did that.
And then the wedding rings. The diamonds. Diamonds, regular diamonds. I think it is, Mel. He said, is it Barney's? We got to look him up. We got to Google that real quick. Yeah.
But
because he might be behind all those things.
Yeah, which is and why TV is the way it is, why commercials are the way they are, why radio and
they said even pay attention to your the kids shows. Because that whole changing their scenes every few seconds just to overstimulate your child's brain.
Yes.
Yeah,
it's Bernays. Edward Bernays. Edward Bernays. That's his name.
Okay. Yeah, the
but I
that
feel like
marketing and like.
He died in 95. He lived to be 104. Of course he would.
Of course he would. They always do.
Oh.
They always do, yo.
Always. Like, how did Henry Kissinger live to be 100? Like what? The fucking the Queen of England or whatever, Queen, whatever her name was, Elizabeth. She's like 100. What? Oh man. So anyway, let's see. He was an American pioneer in the field of public relations and propaganda, and referred to in his obituary as the father of public relations. He lived to be 103. He died on March 9th in 1995. He died in 95. He was born in 1891. That's crazy. It says, why was Edward Bernays controversial? Bernays was compared to European fascists such as Joseph Goebbels, I can pronounce that wrong, Goebbels, and Adolf Hitler. He's in a Britannica. He was born in Vienna, Austria. How about that?
Austria.
Yeah. What's the name from? Hitler?
Was he from Austria? Oh.
Yeah, he wasn't German. He wasn't born in Germany.
I was gonna say Arnold Schwarzenegger. I think is also Austrian, but
yeah.
That's what I was gonna guess because definitely would have popped up in my head that Hitler was from Austria.
That's crazy.
So what happens when y'all start off agreeing on these things or in the same party, and then your partner changes up on you?
In what way? And like the
like over the course of the relationship, that now they've switched sides.
That's what I said before. Like, what if y'all always voted blue, and then all of a sudden he's like, "Nah, I'm gonna rock with Trump," and you're just like, "What?" Also, because what's his name said earlier in the video, she said that she didn't like Duke because he said he voted for Trump. I need us to stop being so irrational about Trump and get irrational about the things that he's done wrong. Like, he's definitely done some illegal things and some bad things as a president. But some of the things that we'd be mad at him about, it'd be straight emotional reaction. And I believe that's our downfall. So like if somebody like switched up, I would ask them questions, because I don't want to be with somebody who's easily propagandized. Whether you're aware of everything or not, whether you're aware of everything, I'm into this. So I look at it maybe 2-3 hours a day, every day.
Mm-hmm.
But so just because you don't have all of the knowledge, you might be ignorant of some things, doesn't mean that just because you're ignorant doesn't mean you lack intellect, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think if somebody was easily propagandized, I couldn't be with you, because there might be a situation where they might pit you against me, and you might not have the wherewithal to be like, nah. Usually that's when shit changes for people. Like everybody's like, oh, Trump is good. And then he's like, no more abortions. It's like, oh, wait a minute. Now it hit home. Now you regret your decision. Now you change your mind, and you might even look at this stuff even more. I've been out the Matrix since 2006, but I knew them. I was aware of the Matrix after 9/11. I was like, something about this shit don't add up. I didn't know how to step out of it until I did in 07, 06, 07, 06, 07, something like that. Yeah, I was 23, so 07. So yeah, I look at it. I look at that like I can't see how somebody can be easily propagandized and retain respect from me intellectually. So
because basically you're easily manipulated.
Now, if you did the research and you're like, I agree with these facts, I may not agree. I may not like that we disagree, but I can't do anything but respect the fact that you took the time to do the research and this is your opinion on it, or just how you feel about it, and then maybe you make that decision. But if you just cold turkey was just like, fuck that, I'm going with it. I'm gonna be tight. I'm gonna be tight. I'm gonna be tight. I'm not gonna hold you. I'm gonna be mad. I'm gonna be mad. And Mel said, think about it. Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer would have never wore I can't pronounce that. A yarmulke?
Oh,
Dashiki.
the
I'm gonna say dashiki, and put their fist up to salute black people, and they had that white kente cloth. I mean, at the end of the day, like, bro, yeah, they did that to try to appeal to us during like all the riots and shit that was happening. It was just like, ew, don't do that. Don't do that. And black people as a whole, we may not be a monolith, but as a majority, we can spot bullshit from a mile away.
I was just about to say I really appreciate, like, even with the shooting, all the black people I knew was like, oh snap, someone tried to shoot Trump. Hold on a second.
Right.
Hold on
Right.
a second.
Right.
Hold on a second, yo.
Some didn't add up. We were wrong about it being real. Like, oh, he staged it because people died and all that. But we still was like, something don't add up. And when you look deeper into it, I don't know if anybody is watching.
Something's fishy. Something's
Something
fishy.
don't add up.
Something's fishy.
Some don't add up.
So everybody I know is just like, the first thing is like, is this staged? Like, hold on.
The first thing.
Like,
the first thing.
So I can appreciate that in my fellow black people, that where we might not be like emotionally moved to everything, but we always like, but we don't really matter because we might have business. We might have business on it, but we might have business. But that's interesting. Y'all think that's interesting?
Who said that happened? Oh, what?
Exactly. What the hell is my hair doing?
I didn't know that would be a thing. Cool though, yeah.
yeah. Oh,
listen.
Okay.
Before we go, because I gotta go real quick. So I've never seen a black couple like get into it a lot, like over politics. And it's because whether we agree on who to vote on or not, we know we being fucked either way. Typically, we ain't gotta agree on much. Like, oh, it's over for us. Like, whatever, you know.
Either day, we gonna have to deal with the repercussions of our beliefs.
At some point, so
it doesn't matter if you are on the same side as me. We both going to be the ones who suffer the most from the decisions of the party.
So one of the things that I wanted to say was like, one of the things that I noticed was that black people, and I wanted to do a video on this, black people are right about a lot of things. First, we were right about our phones being tapped. It took a white person to say it for everybody to believe it. We were right about police brutality. It took some, I don't know if the guy was white, but whoever filmed Rodney King, like, oh my God, they're actually beating up black people. We talked about all these things for years and years and years and years and years and years. And eventually it was like, oh, this shit is happening. We was like, oh no, we still experience racism. No, we don't. And then shit, you start seeing stuff happening, redlining still happening, all this other stuff. And you're just like, oh no, that was in the 70s. They stopped that, bro. It still happens. And then they come out with a report, and then Wells Fargo gets sued for like $2 billion. And you're just like, oh, I thought it stopped happening. We told you the shit was happening. You know, one of the best jokes of all time was, not best jokes, but one of the best political jokes of all time was Patrice O'Neal. And he was talking about Obama. And he was just like, if y'all white folks would shut up with the racist stuff, we would probably be on your side with Obama. But y'all so wild with it, we just can't let it rock. So we, out of spite, we're going to just vote for the nigga. But if y'all was just like fall back with the racist shit, we'd be like, you know what? You right, Brandon.
If the existence or the option didn't just irk y'all down to your very soul,
right?
Your little racist soul.
Right. We don't even know they racist.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean? So I just look at it like if we just had that modicum of disrespect for us, that I will be good money. We'll be good money, but it don't be like that. It don't be like that.
Baby out here being triggered.
Oh man.
I'm triggered. I love that song.
Man, oh man. Triggered all the time. All right, so anything you want to add?
You gotta address the way out. Do you think these are deal breakers? Do you think that's the end of the relationship? Like, do you
If
think
I'm
there's
with
some place
somebody,
where this is a thing?
I'm not gonna hold you. If I'm with somebody who's easily propagandized, I'm turned off. I'm no longer attracted to you. I'm gonna keep it real with you. I'm gonna keep it real with you. I will not be able to continue this relationship. And
I
I'm
know
not
we
gonna
say
lie.
we
It's
say
not,
compatibility isn't everything, but there's a certain comfort in it, isn't it?
I don't think this is compatible. I think it's my preference on the human. I think it runs down that deep. If my kids are easily propagandized, I would feel some type of way. I make my kids think
Okay.
about everything. When so like, all right, it's not a hard red. Like I have red lines. Don't pop up by my crib. Don't go through my shit. Don't try to put your hands on me. Don't fight. Like I got hard lines. Like don't cross those lines. You cross that line one time, I don't care how much I'm in love with you. It's over.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Ain't no more. Ain't no negotiating. None of that. That's not a hard line, but it's a crack in the foundation of why I thought I loved you.
Because someone's intellectual abilities definitely plays a role in your attraction to them, right?
Yes, absolutely,
Makes sense.
absolutely. And not only that, the ability of a person to not be a follower. I'm like people that
Do you
follow
think
all the time.
stuff like this can be addressed in therapy?
Yes, that's a good question. Yes, I don't know if it'll change my mind. Therapy doesn't help you get smarter, bitch. Like what the fuck? You thought who? What happened? What? Nah, that's not gonna change. That's gonna make you. You feel what I'm saying?
I hear you.
Brooklyn Preneur says a deal breaker.
Deal breaker. All right.
I don't know. Like I said, do you think it's a deal breaker for you?
It can be. Because at least here, like I said, I've never experienced politics anywhere else. But at least here, political affiliations can directly threaten my life.
Yeah, because you black and a woman, and I'm black. So you black and a woman, so you get it like 3 times, and then I'm black and a man. And I hate to admit this, but like colorism helps me a little bit. But
So I didn't want to be the one to be like, and you light skin.
nah,
I definitely thought it.
but the extra part is I might make certain white people feel more comfortable, but did I make black people feel uncomfortable? So it's you know
That's
what I
a whole
mean?
nother conversation.
Right. But I still get the occasional like, clutch your purse and stuff like that. And usually when that happens, I'll speak to people. How's your day today? Hope all is well. You know what I mean? Like, because people are stupid.
Oh, okay.
Said I'm okay if you're not heavy on it and out here projecting. Everyone knows politics is a sensitive topic. Because tell me one thing and I'll vote in a different private, not wanting to risk our relationship. See, I think that's wrong.
I think it's deceitful.
I feel like
Because I thought about it. I was like, you could just tell everybody what they want to hear to their face and then go and vote however you want.
you go vote for Trump, but when nobody looking, and I feel like I ain't gonna hold you. I don't ever want to be with someone, especially like a life partnership, marriage, or something like that, where I have to hide my political affiliation or lack thereof. If I have to hide that from you, you ain't the one. You should know who I am and what I'm about and understand why I have the stances that I have. If you can't wrap your head around the nuance of that intellectually, then you're not for me. If I see that you in one of them gangs and the red gang, not the Bloods, the Republicans, and the blue gang, not the Crips, but the Democrats, and you one of them gangs, blue vote blue no matter who and all that, I ain't got nothing for you. I ain't got nothing for you. But anyway, it's been an hour and 20 minutes, y'all. That was dope.
I agree.
Minus the frustrations from earlier today. But I'm
tired.
We're going to get them shit to right at some point in the near future. We will be back next Wednesday. You work next Wednesday?
Yes, we will. Yes.
All right, I keep that in mind when I'm setting up. Um,
Okay.
you want me to send you the stuff? I'm gonna call you tomorrow when I'm working. By the way. All right. You ain't call me on Friday or Monday, so
I told you what it was going to be like. Anyway, all right, whatever. I already told you.
anyway, so so like when I look up like articles and stuff like that and videos, do you want how you want me to send them to you? Because I know
That's fine. How you did today is good.
okay. All right. Are we lit? Thank y'all for joining in. This is a dope convo. Yo, next week, Wednesday, 8-ish. We gonna say 8:30 next week because she on work tour. So we're gonna be lit. All right, y'all. Later,
Bye,
dude.
guys.
Do that.
Thanks
Smell
for.
that.
You can still share this. Send it to your Republican friends.
Or no, I don't do that. That's crazy.
Bye,
That's crazy.
guys.